Imagine standing at the very edge of everything you know, where the weight of the world seems to rest on your shoulders. There's a deep silence, one that fills the space around you, and yet the air feels charged, as if the earth itself is holding its breath. Suddenly, without warning, the sky cracks open. Dark clouds rolling and swirling, giving way to jagged flashes of lightning that split the heavens. In that moment, everything feels like it's about to unravel. You hear it, the sound that cuts through the air, piercing the silence. The first trumpet, a sound so powerful that it seems to reverberate through every fiber of your being. It's as though the very ground beneath you is trembling in response, the weight of what's to come pressing down on you. The sound is not just heard but felt deep inside, a moment suspended in time. But here's the question that haunts everyone in this moment of awe. Do you know what comes next? Do you understand the significance of that trumpet? The question isn't about the noise, the fear, or the chaos that follows. It's about something deeper. Something we've all wondered about, but so few have truly grasped. What follows that sound? What do you do when the earth begins to shake, when the sky opens up and reveals things beyond our comprehension? Throughout history, we've been told stories of prophets, visions, and warnings, stories that speak of a time when everything we've known will be upended. But these aren't just stories. They are warnings, truths, veiled in mystery. They carry a weight that can't be ignored. The Bible, ancient as it may seem, holds answers that have been tucked away for centuries. The mysteries of what comes after that first trumpet, after the storm has passed, have been right in front of us all along. For centuries, mankind has wondered about the end. Is it something we should fear, or something we need to understand to prepare for what's ahead? As the skies darken and the trumpet sounds, there's more to the story than what we might think. There's more to the prophecy than we've been led to believe. We've been given a map, if only we knew how to read it. A map that doesn't just point to the end of the world, but to the beginning of something far greater. It's not about waiting for the final trumpet to sound. It's about understanding that the sound is a call to action, a signal that something greater is unfolding, something beyond our immediate grasp. And the only way forward is through comprehension, preparation, and awakening. What if everything we've been taught is just the beginning? What if the real journey starts when we choose to listen, really listen, to the words of the prophecy, to the lessons hidden within? What if we could not just hear the trumpet, but understand the calling behind it? In that very moment, as the storm rages and the sky cracks open, you are not just witnessing an event. You are standing at the threshold of an incredible shift, a shift that will take you from one understanding of the world to another. This isn't just about the end. It's about a revelation, a new beginning that's been waiting for you all along. The question remains, when the trumpet sounds, will you be ready to hear its call? Or will you stand frozen in the moment, overwhelmed by the force of what's to come? The choice, as it always has been, is yours. The book of Revelation isn't just a story, it's a warning, one that echoes through the ages, carrying a message so cryptic, so veiled in mystery, that it has captivated and terrified humanity for centuries. It's a message woven in symbols, visions, and prophecies, each image more haunting than the last. A vivid tapestry that shakes us to our core, urging us to pay attention, to understand, and perhaps to prepare. The visions that John recorded on the isolated island of Patmos aren't simply the ramblings of a man in exile. They are a call to the world. A world that was, and still is, on the brink of something much greater. The Apostle John, isolated from the rest of humanity, became the vessel through which a divine revelation was given. And what he saw, the beasts, the angels, the mighty war of good and evil, has reverberated through the centuries. His exile was not a punishment, it was a setup for a prophetic message to be shared with the world. At the heart of Revelation is a theme we all know, the final battle between good and evil. But this battle isn't simply about kingdoms or nations, it's about the very soul of humanity, the destiny of every single person. It speaks to our eternal fate, the choice between salvation and destruction. It warns us that the end is not just a moment, but a culmination of choices, actions, and consequences. And then, of course, there's the promise, the second coming of Christ, the return of the King, the one who will set all things right. But how can we be ready for that return? How can we stand firm in the face of the trials and tribulations that Revelation foretells? That is the question each of us must grapple with. For when that final battle comes, will we be among the ones who rise with him? Or will we be lost to the chaos that follows? These are the themes that Revelation holds at its core. A warning that has stood the test of time. A cryptic message that calls out to each generation, urging us to examine our hearts, our choices, and the world around us. The fate of humanity, the war between light and darkness, and the ultimate victory of the divine. It's not just a tale from the past, it's a prophecy for the present and for the future. So as you hear these words, remember, this isn't just a book to be read. It's a warning, a prophetic vision that carries with it the weight of eternity. The 7 seals, each one a step closer to the apocalypse, a divine progression that leads us to the final reckoning. But the real question we must ask ourselves is this: are we opening them one by one? Or are we watching as each seal is cracked open, bringing us closer to an end we can barely comprehend? The first seal opens, and the white horse emerges, its rider holding a bow, symbolizing conquest. The world begins to tremble as the forces of ambition and power sweep across nations. The calm before the storm is shattered, and what follows is the rise of global turmoil. The hunger for control grows, and the world starts to divide as it seeks dominance, spreading instability far and wide. The world is no longer a place of peace, it is a battleground for power. Then the second seal is broken, and the red horse rides forth. The rider carries a great sword, and with it comes war. Ruthless, unrelenting war. The flames of conflict spread across the globe, touching every corner of the earth. Nations clash, alliances break, and the blood of the innocent is spilled as the drums of battle echo through history. The red horse doesn't just signify war, it signifies the escalation of chaos, a deepening conflict that knows no boundaries. As the red horse gallops, the suffering of humankind becomes inescapable. Next, the third seal cracks open and the black horse appears. The rider holds a pair of scales, a symbol of scarcity. Famine begins to ravage the earth. Food becomes a commodity, something only the privileged can access. People starve while others hoard, and the scales tip in favor of those who control the resources. The earth that once seemed abundant now withers, and humanity finds itself on the brink of collapse. The black horse brings with it the darkest consequence of greed, the slow and painful destruction of life itself. The fourth seal is broken, and the pale horse emerges, its rider named Death. With him rides hell itself. As the horse moves across the earth, its shadow casts a cold grip over everything. Death is not just an end, it is an all-encompassing force. The pale horse brings a reckoning like no other, where no corner of the world remains untouched. In its wake, the dead rise, and the living are faced with an inevitable reality. The earth is no longer a place of hope, but one that reflects the devastation brought on by the first 3 seals. Each seal represents a step in the unraveling of the world as we know it. The first, conquest, followed by war, famine, and death. Together, they form a symphony of destruction, a pathway to an end that we can only begin to understand. And the most chilling part of all, we're living in the time where the seals are being cracked open before our very eyes. Are we prepared for what's coming, or will we be caught unawares as each new seal is revealed, one after another? Then, the 7 trumpets sound. The first blast shakes the heavens, and the world below trembles in anticipation. Each trumpet that follows unleashes horrors beyond comprehension, bringing even more devastation to a world already teetering on the edge of ruin. These are not mere warnings. They are cataclysmic events, one after another, unraveling everything we know. But amidst this chaos, a terrifying force begins to rise, a power that is far older and more dangerous than anything we have yet seen. The first trumpet blares through the skies, and with it, hail and fire mixed with blood rain down upon the earth. A third of the land is scorched, consumed by flames and devastation. Entire forests are turned to ash, crops burned to nothing, and the earth itself groans under the weight of destruction. The air is thick with smoke, the sky dark with the fury of nature itself. The forces of nature, no longer calm and nurturing, become instruments of wrath. The land is marked, scarred by this first taste of the end, and the world's survival is thrown into question. The second trumpet sounds, and what follows is something no one could have prepared for. A massive burning mountain falls into the sea, and the oceans themselves are transformed into blood. Waves crash violently against the shores, and sea life is destroyed in an instant. The waters, which once provided nourishment and life, now carry with them death and poison. The earth's lifeblood, its very oceans, are tainted and ruined. The seas become a graveyard, a reminder of the destructive power unleashed by the sound of the trumpet. Humanity, reliant on the waters for sustenance, now faces an unimaginable crisis. The third trumpet rings out, and with it, a star named Wormwood falls from the sky, poisoning the waters even further. Rivers, lakes, and streams are all tainted, turning to a bitter, toxic substance. People drink from the waters, only to find themselves stricken with death. The world is now divided between those who still survive on the poisoned lands and those who seek refuge from the ongoing destruction. Wormwood, named after bitterness, is a harbinger of despair. It marks the deepening of mankind's suffering, and the consequences of their actions become all too clear. Then the fourth trumpet blows, and a great shadow falls over the world. The sun, the moon, and the stars, once sources of light and guidance, grow dark. A third of the sky is darkened, and the earth is plunged into a supernatural darkness. No longer can the world bask in the light of day, nor find solace in the glow of the moon or stars. The darkness that descends is not like any ordinary night. It is suffocating, oppressive, as if the very light has been stolen from the heavens. The warmth and energy that the sun once provided are no longer felt, leaving the world in cold and shadow. With each trumpet, the world is changed, altered in ways that seem impossible. Nature rebels against humanity, the elements themselves becoming weapons of mass destruction. Fires, poisons, and darkness sweep across the earth, and the suffering grows. But even in the midst of these horrors, there's a rising force, an unseen power working behind the scenes, pulling the strings of fate. As the trumpets sound, this force grows stronger, its presence undeniable. We are no longer just witnessing destruction. We are standing at the precipice of a world irrevocably transformed. The question is no longer if the world will fall, but how and when. But none of this, the fire, the war, the famine, or the darkness, compares to the beast that will rise. The Antichrist, a figure unlike any we've known before. He will be a master of deception, a being of unimaginable influence. Who will he be? And most terrifying of all, will he possess the power to deceive the entire world? Will humanity fall under his sway, or will there be those who stand firm in the truth? The beast rises from the sea, its form emerging from the depths, like something born from the very chaos that now defines the earth. It is not a creature of flesh, but of darkness, an embodiment of everything humanity has feared, yet failed to recognize until it is too late. The Antichrist will not come as a figure of overt evil, but as a leader of peace and promise, offering solutions to the world's most desperate problems. With smooth words and a silver tongue, he will weave a web of lies, cloaking his true intentions behind a veil of charisma. And as the beast rises, so does its power. A mark will be given to those who pledge allegiance to it. The mark of the beast, 666, is not just a number, it is the ultimate symbol of loyalty and submission. It will not be given freely, but will come at a cost, the surrender of one's soul. It will be the ultimate test of loyalty, a decision that will define the fate of every individual on earth. Will you accept the mark, sealing your allegiance to the beast? Or will you stand firm, refusing to bow to the deception that will consume the world? Alongside the beast, another figure will rise, the false prophet. This individual will perform miracles, wonders that seem to defy logic, in order to further deceive the masses. The false prophet will not be a figure of evil in the traditional sense, but one of seemingly divine power. His miracles will appear as signs from heaven, leading people to believe that he speaks for God. But in reality, he speaks only for the Antichrist. He will serve as the Antichrist's right hand, drawing people into his grasp with promises of salvation and prosperity, while leading them into damnation. The mark of the beast will become the ultimate dividing line between those who choose to follow the Antichrist and those who choose to follow God. It will be the greatest trial ever faced by humanity: loyalty to the world's false savior or faith in the true king. The decision will not come easily, for the mark will offer power, wealth, and security. But what will it cost? The price is eternal. Those who accept the mark will be bound to the beast forever, while those who reject it will face persecution, hardship, and possibly death. The Antichrist's rise will be a moment that shakes the foundations of the world. He will come not with horns and fire, but with promises of peace, power, and prosperity. He will appear to be the world's savior, but in reality, he will be its doom. And when that moment comes, the world will be forced to choose loyalty to the beast or loyalty to God. No one will be left untouched by this decision. It will be the ultimate battle for the soul of humanity. And when the dust settles, only one truth will remain: you cannot serve two masters. The time will come when the ultimate battle is fought, Armageddon. It will be a war unlike any the world has ever seen, a final collision of good and evil, where the forces of righteousness will face off against the legions of darkness in a clash that will decide the fate of all souls. No longer will the battle be waged in the hearts and minds of men. This is the moment when everything, every choice, every action, every soul will be judged, and the eternal outcome sealed forever. As the sky splits open, the earth will tremble. Christ, the conquering King, will return in glory, his presence overwhelming, his power undeniable. The armies of heaven will march beside him, ready to fight the final battle against the forces of Satan. These are not mere soldiers. They are the legions of the righteous, the angels of God, armed with divine power, prepared to defeat the forces of darkness once and for all. The sky will burn with the light of his return, and the earth will shake as the armies of hell gather, preparing for their last stand. The battlefield will stretch across the heavens, but the fight will not be one of mere survival. It will be the ultimate reckoning, a final judgment where the forces of light and darkness will be decided. Satan and his forces, those who have deceived and corrupted mankind for millennia, will face their final defeat. No longer will they hold sway over the world. No longer will they lead humanity astray with their lies and temptations. The Antichrist, the false prophet, and all who followed them will be cast down, defeated, and cast into eternal destruction. Their reign of terror, their rule of deception, will come to an end. The Battle of Armageddon will not just be a war, it will be the final, irrevocable defeat of evil. The victory will be Christ's, and his kingdom will be established forever. Once the battle is over, a new heaven and a new earth will be created, a place where there is no more suffering, no more pain, and no more death. The old world, corrupted by sin and despair, will be wiped away. The heavens and the earth will be made new, free from the stain of evil, ready for the righteous to dwell in peace. The promise of a new beginning will be realized, one where God's will is done on earth as it is in heaven. It will be a place of eternal peace, where God will dwell with his people, and his light will shine forever. But before the dust settles, the final judgment will take place. The book of life will be opened, and those whose names are written in it will be saved, delivered from the final fate of death and destruction. These are the ones who stood firm in their faith, who remained loyal to God through all the trials, the wars, and the tribulations. They are the ones who rejected the beast, who refused the mark, and who chose the path of righteousness. They will enter into eternal life, to live in the new heaven and new earth, forever in the presence of their Creator. But for those whose names are not written in the book of life, the outcome will be different. The rest of humanity, those who turned away from God, who followed the Antichrist, who chose to live in sin and rebellion, will be cast into the lake of fire, the final and eternal punishment. There will be no second chances, no redemption, no escape from the consequences of their choices. The lake of fire is the final destination for those who refused to acknowledge the truth, who denied the sovereignty of God, and who followed the path of evil. The final battle of Armageddon will not just be the end of the world as we know it. It will be the ultimate triumph of good over evil, light over darkness, life over death. It will be the moment when God's justice is fully revealed and the eternal fate of all souls is decided. The final judgment is coming, and with it the closing chapter of human history. The question remains, on which side will you stand when the battle is fought? Will you be among the redeemed, or will you face the consequences of turning away from the truth? But here's the terrifying truth. We don't know the day. We don't know the hour. We can only watch and wait as the world teeters on the brink of destruction, as the signs unfold one by one, and as the earth trembles beneath the weight of what's to come. Time ticks away relentlessly, as if mocking our uncertainty, reminding us that our preparations may never be enough. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear. We are on the precipice of something monumental, something far beyond our understanding. Imagine the ticking of a clock, each second passing like the beat of a drum in the distance, a constant reminder that time is running out. The world is in chaos, torn by wars, suffering, and confusion. People look up into the sky in fear, as if expecting someone beyond their comprehension to emerge from the heavens. They feel the weight of something unknown looming over them. The question is, will they be ready when the time comes? And more importantly, will you? The book of Revelation isn't just a story or a vision of what may come. It is a prophecy. But more than that, it is a warning, one that holds within it the power to change our future. It's a message that has echoed through generations, passed down from one believer to the next, a divine warning that we are running out of time to make a choice. The symbols, the visions, the terrifying beasts and angels, they all point to one thing. The end is not only inevitable, but it is also near. And what we do with this knowledge will determine our eternal fate. A chilling realization settles in, the possibility that we may be living in the final moments. The earth, the sky, and the stars all seem to be aligning, and yet, we are still left wondering, when will it happen? What if it's closer than we think? What if we are already in the midst of the beginning of the end, and we have no idea? What if, right now, we are standing at the edge of a new era, one that will define the course of humanity for eternity? These are the questions we must ask ourselves. Are you prepared for what's to come? Are you ready to stand firm when the trumpets sound, when the beast rises, and when the final battle begins? Or will you be left standing, unprepared, as the world falls apart around you? Now more than ever, we must ask ourselves, what is the state of our hearts? What is the state of our faith? The signs are here, the warnings have been given, and the question is no longer if, but when. Will we be ready when the time comes? Or will we be caught off guard, swept away by the chaos and destruction that follows? The opportunity to change, to prepare, is now. The days ahead are uncertain, and only those who are truly ready will stand firm when the hour arrives. But the choice is yours. Will you watch and wait in fear? Or will you take this moment to prepare, to stand with conviction, and to face what comes with strength and courage? The future may be unknown, but how you face it doesn't have to be. Will you be ready? The book of the end time is not just a story, it's a warning. A message etched in the pages of history, not just for the generations that came before us, but for those who live today and those who will come after. The end is not something that will sneak up on us. It is coming, unmistakably, undeniably. The question that we must ask ourselves is not if it will come, but will we be ready when the trumpets sound, when the seals are broken, and when the Antichrist rises from the depths of deception? The dark skies loom, thunder cracks the silence, and the world around us begins to crumble, piece by piece. The earth groans, as though it too feels the weight of the inevitable destruction. Buildings fall, societies fracture, and all the signs point toward a world on the brink of collapse. The natural order, once reliable, now unravels. But even in the midst of this chaos, the most chilling part is not the destruction itself. It's the uncertainty. Will we have the courage to stand when the hour strikes? Or will we be swept away by the flood of confusion, fear, and deception? As the screen flickers, leaving the world in an eerie suspense, one thing becomes painfully clear. The time is now. We can no longer hide from the truth. The signs are here, unfolding before our eyes. We can see the storm brewing, the darkness spreading, and the rise of powers that seek to lead us astray. The question that lingers, though, is whether we will be watching in fear, paralyzed by the unknown, or whether we will be watching in hope, prepared to face whatever comes with faith in something greater than ourselves. When the sky opens, when the trumpets sound, when the seals are broken, will you be watching in fear or in hope? Will you be ready for the battle that's coming? Or will you be left behind, wondering what you could have done differently? The end is near. The time is now. The choice is yours. What will you do? Do you believe we're living in the end times? Leave a comment below. Share your thoughts, your concerns, and your hopes. The world is changing, and now more than ever, it's important that we come together, discuss, and prepare. Remember, the only way to be ready is to be awake. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay prepared. The time is now.